Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Monday, October 23rd. We're going to take a look at Snap today. So Snap has earnings coming up, as I'm sure you know. And I thought we would put some levels, some trend lines on the chart and basically give ourselves something to look for depending on the reaction to earnings. Some levels where it might sort of hit support or resistance, or it might kind of settle into. And so I cleaned the chart totally for this. And as you see, we can do a quick little zoom in here. Previous earnings reactions recently have been pretty strong, and they're expecting another strong reaction to earnings this time around, so it seems. So that's a prediction, not from me, but from like earnings whispers. So we'll see if that sort of comes to play. Now I'm going to scroll basically all the way back here toward the beginning of Snap's life as a publicly traded company, because it was previously in this range, this like $9 to $10 range. So I'm going to look for some levels that stand out as being previously important, and we're going to go ahead and put those on the chart, and then we'll flip back over to where the price is situated currently and see how these levels are holding there. Okay, so here's a couple. So we have 917 to the downside, 1040 to the upside. We're going to give ourselves some room here again in case the reaction is quite strong. We want to have a few levels on both sides, to the upside and to the downside. So I don't know that it would come all the way down to 740, at least in one day's reaction to earnings, but who knows. Let me see if there's anything else that looks good here to the upside, sort of in between. There's not a lot's going on in between at 1040 to 1163, which doesn't really sound like a lot when you just say it, but percentage-wise, it's a pretty big shift. I'm going to put one here just because recently this has been a really strong level on both ends of the spectrum, that like 1289 level. For whatever reason, it's a random random number, but so it goes. Okay, so the other thing to note, if it does get some momentum to the upside, there's a gap here that still is not filled. That gap would start at about 1138 because it's partially filled, as you see. So I'm going to gray those out so we won't notice them until we get sort of close into them. But 1138 to 1235 would be the gaps, the gap fill. So, all right, so depending on how things go on earnings, let me see here. I'm just seeing if there's another. Okay, I'm going to put a level here. It's previous gap-ish area. Let's see exactly. Okay, we'll go here. We'll kind of split the difference. All right, so if we swing to the upside off of earnings, I could see resistance levels initially 991, 1040, and then maybe, who knows what crops up. There's probably another level here right around 1069, FYI. But as to not clutter the chart, I'm not going to add that in. Also, sorry if it's loud in the background, we have some construction going on. But in any case, we might have some run room from about 1040 or 1069 up to 1138 where that gap starts. And then in the gap, we have 1163, which we plotted from the previous price action. Gap would fill at 1235, and then we have 1289 to the top side for now. We can always put in more levels if we need. Now, if it starts to lose price based off of earnings or heading into earnings, even 917, 861, and 796 would be levels that I'd look at for potential support, and then 740. And if it dips further than that or what have you, then again, if folks are interested, I'd be happy to come in and take a look and see where things are situated. EMA is pretty bunched up at the moment. There's slight bullish crossover here, sort of a partial bullish crossover, but kind of settling back into those EMAs as they just sort of bunch up pending sort of the next large move. You see, like here, it just sort of bunched up on each other, and then you had your big move down here, and that was also heading into earnings. Didn't really happen here. This must have been sort of some pretty excited motion going into earnings, and then it sort of crumbled from there. But flipping over here to the think or swim study, you see it had been outside of the upper bound of the channel here a while back and pulled back in and dropped right through the bottom end. So that was that same swing. So pretty erratic motion there. Per the channel, but you did see as it came up to approach this 180 to 200 EMA cloud, it caught quite significant resistance. Ultimately, it pushed through it, but it hit that pretty hard, and that was a clear point of resistance. So if it does swing to the upside, that cloud right now is situated about 1069. I think that was the level we just talked about, right? 1069 up to about 11. Hey folks, just so you know, you can get these videos early and ad-free. If you click on the description below and become a member, you can make that happen, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the video. So if it does make a big push up there off of earnings or what have you, that's where it's situated today. That will shift every time a candle gets put in. So just keep that in mind. It won't be exactly there by the time the price gets there. But that could be a sticky spot for it. We'll see. Again, just basing it off of this and off of typical reaction to EMAs. But otherwise, it's just sort of situated here toward the upper mid-range of the channel. No strong momentum in one way or the other based on the TTM squeeze indicator. That said, a few days back, TTM squeeze indicator was triggering. It's now several days into firing. So we'll see if it's kind of gearing up for the big earnings move. That would kind of make sense. So we could see sort of a big motion based off of earnings per the TTM squeeze indicator, unless it's giving us some misguided information. Who knows? But yeah, for the time being, the mid-range of the channel right now is situated at 920, still sitting there as potential support level if it wants to come down and test the mid-range ahead of earnings or, at or during earnings. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start and that you enjoy the earnings of Snap and all of the varied reactions to it, I'm sure. And I hope that that sets you up for a nice trading week ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.